Thank you once again to our wonderful Patreon subscribers for voting for this year's Drought Relief Retro Review, and extra special thanks for snubbing Danganronpa for the third year in a row. Anime is like the Rice Krispies in a Kellogg's Variety Pack, apparently. You only go for it when there's literally fuck all else. I don't hate the idea of playing Danganronpa or think that I couldn't possibly enjoy it. I just find it increasingly amusing that it keeps showing up only to get kicked in the head, like my dog when I'm using VR. Anyway, this year's winner was Sid Meier's Pirates, the 2004 remake rather than the 1987 original. I mean, Christ, it's retro review, not fucking Paleolithic. Sid Meier is a big fish from old school gaming, best known for having a very unreasonable combination of vowels in his name, and also a pokey little try-hard franchise called Civilization. But he was also a man known to dabble all across the spectrum of management games, and at one point indulged his unassailable creativity by making a game about pirates called Sid Meier's Pirates. Then at some point someone stuck an exclamation mark on the end of the title, presumably as a marketing exercise. So now my job is to let you know how well Sid Meier's Pirates holds up from a modern perspective. Short answer, not terribly. It's very old school in its design focus. I mean, playing the PC version on GOG, it has to be primarily controlled with the fucking numpad on your keyboard. Even in 2004, that was like having to control a helicopter with a pull-chain flush handle. I'm assuming the format is recreating the 1987 original fairly closely, as it evokes an ancient design philosophy you can see in games like Civilization 1 or David Braben's Elite, where the attitude in play is not so much crafting an experience for the player, as it is crafting an environment in which experiences could potentially happen. Plonking the player in the middle and going, don't fucking look at me, asshole, this is your show, get dancing. Which is the first strike for me. I very much prefer a game to be intrinsically goal-oriented, with appropriate rewards and punishments. I still have occasional anxiety dreams that centre around the voice of a Japanese accented woman saying, don't worry, Mama can fix this. Sid Meier's Pilates creates for us a simulated version of the 18th century Caribbean, which even if we spend our entire time with the game sitting perfectly still in a corner of the map trying to get off with a manatee colony, would nevertheless bustle with activity as an array of NPC factions send their ships back and forth to inhabit settlements, negotiate trades, and fight it out over terrain. The first thing we do is pick which seagoing power to initially side with. Naturally, I went with the British. Boo, yeah, fuck off. Yes, historically the British haven't been much of a force for positivity in global affairs, but this is the age of sail, remember, when at least they weren't as bad as the fucking Spanish. Our protagonist is a gung-ho twink who runs away to sea to escape his family's victimization by an evil magistrate, but during a grueling voyage you mutiny against an evil captain and successfully argue to the assembled experienced sailors that you should be captain instead. The narration text scoots around the question of precisely how you did that, I'm assuming by having the tightest buttocks on the entire lower deck. After that, you get dumped to a really zoomed out view of a boat we control with numpad keys and are free to merrily explore the Caribbean. As long as we're going west, the wind's almost always pointing that way for realism's sake, so going west is a lovely holiday cruise, and going east is like climbing a spiral staircase on a pogo stick. But never mind that, my first act was to rock up to a British settlement where I bolstered my crew, read health bar by raking some dudes off the floor of the tavern, and then visited the governor, who told me he's super cool with the whole mutiny thing, as long as I go murder some Spaniards. Then I explored a bit more and found a French settlement where the governor was all like, Zut the law, you're now a captain in the French Navy because you murdered a Spaniard on the way here, which is literally the only qualification. Then I found a Dutch settlement where the governor went, windmills and tulips, etc. Please murder Spaniards. Then I had to stop at a Spanish settlement where the governor said, we're very unhappy you murdered some Spaniards, but you did also murder some neutral pirates, so here's a captaincy in the Spanish Navy and a mansion and please kiss my ugly daughter. I was a little perplexed how every time I talked to a governor he'd bring his fucking daughter out, all with ratings for beauty, apparently decided by how much tit they're showing off, and I'd be expected to dance with them in a slightly humiliating minigame about trying to remember which movements correspond to which hand gestures. Sorry, did I come in the wrong door? Am I playing Sid Meier's debutantes? I made a conscious decision to stop indulging the fucking governor's daughter nonsense, although it wasn't easy, because I'd go to a tavern for rumours of treasure and all they'd have is, hey, I hear the governor of St. Kitts' daughter shows off 12 centimetres of cleavage. If Sid Meier's pie plates was being sold today, they'd probably call it a roguelike, because where the quests will take you and the fatness of each daughter's titties is up to RNGesus, you craft the experience you want to have, which ultimately comes down to which of the game's many largely unrelated minigames you can tolerate. I hate the dancing. Ship combat's alright. Sword combat's about pressing the right button in response to the enemy, so it's basically just the dancing again, but more on theme. Treasure hunting based on vague maps is a fun enough exercise. Sneaking through a hostile town is about as fun as doing a cereal box maze puzzle with all your fingers stuck in Smarties tubes, and the turn-based strategy town assaulting minigame seemed functional enough the entire one time I did it. The problem with Sid Meier's pratfalls is that it's taken the individual elements of a swashbuckling pirate adventure story, pirating, treasure hunt, shag rebellious posh crumpet, and tried to turn each one into a repeating system. Even the long-term goal of rescuing your family is like that. You defeat the evil Baron Twatstash and he reveals the location of your long-lost sister, so you go rescue her with a variant on the treasure hunting minigame, and seconds after the tearful reunion, the game goes, whoops, now Baron Twatstash knows the location of your long-lost cat. Better defeat him again. So even what passes for the plot becomes grinding out minigames. I wouldn't say Sid Meier's Perverts does hold up. In the end, what made me pack it in was I just couldn't figure out how to keep my crew's morale up. I'd stay supplied, I'd pillage ships, find treasure, not pillage ships, dock at that one place near the Florida Keys where the barmaid has the really stonking baps. Still, the happy face icon slid inexorably into sad. And eventually I decided I'd had enough of trying to appease these nagging dipshits. I get enough of this at home when I've been playing VR too much and the dog's run out of face medicine.